Welcome to the Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom for more than 10 years. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I began raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott from the Believe in Dog podcast. For more than 10 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned in case it could help you too. As the Alternative Dog Moms, Kimberly and I are bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and the brilliant people we're meeting along the way. Now let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin.
So, I accidentally spent a ton of money on a dog collar that doesn't fit.
Oh, is it too big or too small?
Too small.
Too small.
However, it was a leather collar. I saw it online. I was like, I have to have this. I got in way too deep before I realized how much it was going to cost. And I'm like, all right, I'm doing it anyway because I must have this leather, beautiful leather collar anyway. So, when I got it, yeah, it's totally way too small for her, but I found like a leather belt extender.
Okay, good.
So I'm able to get that, but then I ended up having to pay, more money for that. So anyway, At least it'll fit her in the end and it'll be beautiful on my Daisy. But yeah, I'm just like, I hope Tim doesn't ask how much that costs.
I have purchased, there's someone, she was in one of the she was like an admin in one of the raw feeding groups years ago. And she made these really cool, I think they were called parachute, the materials, parachute material. But these, I think it's the parachute rope maybe.
Oh,
But
paracord?
Yeah, that's what it is. Collars. And the first one I ordered was too small. It was for Apollo. And it definitely can't fit him now because he grew up. But oh my God, I loved it. I still have it. And I think Bella could wear it actually. I think it would be perfect size for her. But I've always wanted, I think she was on Etsy. She is on Etsy. And I've always wanted to go back and just order another one. But now I'm into the martingale collars and the dogs just wear those, even though they don't recommend that they wear them all the time. So
this would be like a very decorative, like maybe if we had nice photos done, I'd put it on,
Yeah,
it
not a
be
daily collar.
Not a daily wear. Yeah. And we also went to a new nose work class this weekend because we're the only people, I guess, with our other instructor who want to do like the advanced classes. And so she doesn't have enough people to run an advanced class. So I had to go find somebody else. But I already had such a great experience and learned a ton
so good
on my end of what I should be doing, which is a good thing to know of how to support your dog when they're searching. So anyway.
There's an app. These people keep contacting me, and I really need to reply to them today. But there's an app that I want to download, and it's a dog training app. And I don't know if it has a monthly fee, but it's called Doggo, D-O-G-O. And I was just sort of like, I don't really want to use a dog training app. I'd prefer to just talk to my trainer if I have issues. And shout out to Dayton Cummings of Kilted Canine. But I asked this, do you have games and stuff on it? And they said, yeah, actually we do. So now I really want to check it out and just see the different games I can play and try them out with each of my dogs to see, who would do well on what type of games, especially because my dogs are so spread out in age because I have a 7-month-old, an almost 3-year-old, 6.5-year-old, and an almost 12-year-old. So it'll be interesting to see what they would get. So I need to look more into that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Zoe's so cute.
Yes, she is. I see her all snuggled up behind you.
She's like the cutest dog ever.
I do have a Daisy at my feet today.
Yay, well done. So how is the name change going? Are you settled into it?
Somewhat, yes. I have to really stop and think about it. And then when I was telling somebody about it, they burst out laughing and they're like, she's not a Daisy. I was like, look, That's what she responded to.
Yes,
That's what she wants.
that's what she wants.
I want to respect her wishes.
I am a beautiful little flower
Yeah.
with a gigantic head and a bite strength that'll
And a
rival.
taste for rabbits.
I know, exactly.
I don't know if I told you that, but, like, 2 days before we left for Hawaii, she, like, ate another rabbit in the yard.
Hey, it's like, at some point in time, I look at the rabbits and I'm like, at some point in time, you guys have to recognize that you're probably living on the wrong property. And actually, my property is probably safest for the rabbits because I think Apollo has finally reached a point where he cannot chase down a rabbit if
Mm.
it's a long distance. So if a rabbit is dumb enough to get inside the dog yard, it's toast. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. I see their little leavings behind, so they'll come out there, and I know how they get in. They'll come through at night, but not during the day. They're smart enough to do that. But when we're out in the yard, they'll start running at a distance, and the dogs try to catch them, but they're able to reach a safe point before the dogs can get them. But and it's funny because Zoe can't move without barking or making some noise. So she's making this little squeaky noise as she's trying to go as fast as she can. And
Aw.
it's so cute because it's like, oh, look at her go. But yeah, no. Have we had any death rabbits this year? I don't think try to think. I think we did at the very beginning of the season. Apollo snatched one from underneath the deck, which was horror. We were just walking by it, and I'm like, "Damn it!" And that might have been actually last year when that happened. I think this year has been, has been pretty much rabbit free. But the rabbits, yeah, it has been because the rabbits have gotten pretty bold, where they're just sitting, they're like outside the dog yard, and the dogs are going crazy because I feel like the rabbits are like, yeah, you can't, you have no power here, and so the world as we know it. I want to bring up something briefly. I don't want people to think that this is all we're going to talk about for the rest of the year, but I do want to bring up the BK pets. And I just want to do a what is it called? Like a PSA, a public service announcement. Dear everyone, it's okay. It's going to be okay. But the number of people that are so still, and I get it, that they're so frustrated with the BK pets. It's okay. Let them talk about kibble. Let them recommend, Kirkland brand products. There is still the majority of dog owners out there feed kibble, and they are going after that audience, and that is their target market. And it's not the end of the world. My biggest recommendation is start creating content that promotes fresh food and raw feeding. And I have a post. I used to have it pinned. It's not pinned any longer. But if you're subscribed to my newsletter, you can find it about Instagram and how to use Instagram to promote yourself and to build your following. And to be honest, Instagram is making a lot of changes to the algorithm where follower count is no longer important. It's engagement. And you can have 500 followers and have amazing engagement because you have to remember that it's not just the people who follow you who see your stuff. And so if you can start sharing great content, I use Canva and I have a set design that I use, and I keep copying and just changing all the words. It's super fast and easy to do. And my engagement is massive. I don't get my follower count isn't growing. It's growing steadily, but it's very slowly. I probably get maybe 100 new followers a month, but my engagement is insane. And I've had quite a few reels go viral. And that's where you want to focus your time and attention on. Don't worry about their 500,000 followers because it's not about followers. It's about engagement. And I had one more thing to say, and I don't remember what it was. I think it's gone. It's gone now. But, I was going to say, a person to follow, like if you're looking for inspiration on how to do this, one person that I really, really like to follow is Paws of Prey. And I want to try and get her onto the podcast. But she has YouTube, she has Instagram. I'm sure she has all the other ones too, but I just follow her on Instagram and YouTube. And she does really great videos. And utilize Chat GPT. I mean, it doesn't have to do all the thinking for you, but you can say, hey, give me 10 ideas on content that I can post over the next few weeks. And it'll get used to your voice, like not your voice, but how you speak and the things that you talk about and things like that. It's a very helpful thing to do. But I just wanted to put that out there because I know a lot of people are feeling upset, triggered, frustrated. I don't think it's necessary. I think they have. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm being obnoxious off on
Aaron's
camera. You
behaving
guys.
badly. But, I just think I honestly think that, it is what it is. I mean, I think for a lot of people, they weren't really big fans of the BK pets when they were talking about raw feeding. So it's no big loss to them. But for the people who do feel like, this is 10 steps backwards type of thing, it doesn't have to be. There are tons of people out there who want this information, and it's easy to reach it. You just need to be able to create quality content. And I'm more than happy to share everything that I'm doing in order to maintain my social media while working a full-time job, while making dog food for 4 big dogs, and being on the board of directors of a rescue, and doing a weekly podcast with my friend, blah, 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 blah. So it is doable. So I just wanted to say that.
And the information that you shared was such excellent and generous information. So you guys go and track that down on Kimberly's Instagram or join her newsletter, because I was like, wow, I can't believe she's giving this away for free, because people literally charge money for that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I had 2 consultations with Meta where they just basically went through my social media, and what's funny is that they were like, "You're doing everything right. Here's what you can do better. This is what you're doing well. This is what you can do better." And then they just answered, and it wasn't like we have 30 minutes or we have 20 minutes. It was as long as I wanted to talk on the phone with them.
Wow.
And they just answered every single question I had. So all the things like, is it wrong to post 10 times a day? Or do I have to use hashtags? By the way, no, you don't have to use hashtags. Hashtags are just either you can just have fun with them, but it's just another way to tell the algorithm what you're writing about. So you can use 2 or 3, you can use 20. I suggest sticking with the 2 or 3. I mean, they answered every single question, and it was so helpful, and I just couldn't help, I was tempted to put it behind like a paywall, but I really just don't feel like dealing with payments because you have to pay taxes on that. And everything changes so quickly that I didn't know how long the information would be valuable. I think overall it'll always be valuable, but there's always going to be changes and switches up. So 6 months from now, I may be rewriting it. So
Right.
if you just go to rawfeederlife.com, and most of the stuff on that is my new website, basically, but it's kind of a newsletter/website. Most of it is you can just read it, but some things are behind a gate. So basically, you have to give your email to read it, and that's only because if for some strange reason I get kicked off of social media, I still want to be able to reach people. So that's why I ask for people's emails, not to sell you anything. So, and speaking of selling people things, this is a great segue. So I saw amazing discussion. Well, I should say I got an amazing email the other day or message on Instagram from someone who wants to become a canine nutritionist. And she was asking me, is this is it a feasible business to start? How hard is it? What do I need to know? And I thought it was a cool thing to talk about because I know there are a lot of people who are taking the various courses. There's the Feed Real course. There's the Dr. Billinghurst course. There's the Dr. Ruth Roberts course. There's the CASI course. There's the Dogs Naturally magazine courses. So there's a lot of courses. And then there's now this $49.95 pet health coach that's being promoted and telling people they can make 10 grand a month. Good luck with that. I think that's just has scam written all over it. Oh, one thing that I told her is that, in my opinion, this is going to be a very difficult business to start. And the reason why is because the amount of competition that's out there, because a lot of people are taking these courses and then starting the business, is extreme. And I think that it's important if you do want to do it the right way. So, for instance, when I decided I wanted to have a blog, and so this was like 100 years ago, and I wanted it to be my side gig, it was going to be a blogging business. I got a business license. I set up an LLC. I set up my business pages, on social media. So it wasn't a personal page. It was, Keep the Tail Wagging, which is now called Raw Feeder Life, is a business page. And I have a business thing on Instagram. And it's so important to do that because you have access to more than what the regular pages do. You have access to all of your analytics. So you can see what posts are doing well, which ones aren't. And I just started educating myself like crazy. I set up a business bank account. I called my insurance company to find out about business insurance for it. And I was basically told it would probably be part of my house insurance, my homeowner's insurance, if I, for some reason, got sued. But
or
I
you
think
can get an umbrella policy.
yeah. And I think that if you're going to be helping dogs, especially after the ruling at New York that says that basically people can sue for, is it pain and suffering?
Yeah, for
If they lose
damages,
a
yeah.
dog, people can sue. So it's really important to make sure that you are covered financially, because if you give advice and a dog gets sicker and it's determined, and I feel like there's a good chance that they can find a veterinarian, or that a veterinarian would say, yeah, you should not have been taking advice from this person, because I don't think that this new canine nutritionist and the pet health coach positions are something that's respected widespread
And it's
amongst
not
the
regulated, yeah.
yes, and exactly, it's not regulated. And so I think that, there could be a case, as, at least in New York. And if that's ruling is something that spreads across the country, it's something to be concerned about. And I know one nutritionist who did get a visit, I don't think a physical visit, I think a call from the Canadian
Veterinary
whoever,
board?
yeah, veterinary board, about the things that were on the website, talking about the little words that you can't use, words like diagnose. And there's more to it than that. But, she had to make some changes to her website, and they basically explained, they didn't tell her, they didn't shut her down, they didn't fine her, but they explained to her what she could offer and what she could do and what she couldn't do. And so I think it's important to make sure you contact the licensing with our state as the Department of Health, and talk to them about what you can and cannot do, what's appropriate. I don't think that it's a good idea to just start calling veterinarians and asking them to recommend you, because I don't think you'll get a whole lot of support there. But treat it like a business and be really serious about it. And then instead of, one person started going through my comments and promoting their consultation in my comments. And that I was furious about it. It was such a slap in the face and so disrespectful.
I've seen people do stuff like that before too, like on other people's platforms. And
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it is. I've had people do it from MLM companies in the past. And it's just like, you're basically going to someone, I worked really hard to build what I have, and to stand on my shoulders and start promoting yourself to my followers is not only a slap in the face to me, but it also gives them the impression that I okayed that.
right.
And that I endorse you when I don't know you. And it also takes away an opportunity for collaboration, because now I'll never trust you. And anyone that asks me about you, I'll warn them about you because of that behavior. But what you could do, instead of rushing to market with your services, actually start educating yourself. If you have the budget and time, take some local community classes about business and building business. And if you don't have that, YouTube is a fabulous resource, and it's all free. And there are other websites, like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, where where you can take courses. I want to say Udemy maybe is one. I don't know, but you can Google it. But, basically take some time. Don't rush into it. Maybe take 3 to 6 months of just education and sharing, because you're expecting people to trust you with their dog's health. And ultimately, we're all strangers. And I'm not spending hundreds of dollars with someone I don't know and trusting them to give me what I need for my dog, and and what they're telling me is accurate. the person that I'm going to open up my, checkbook for is going to be someone who I've noticed sharing really great information for an extended period of time, and they've earned my trust. So going back to Pause of Prey, I don't know if she offers consultations, but she appears to know what she's talking about. Another person is Ronnie Lejeune of Perfectly Rawsome. I mean, I've always been really impressed with her level of knowledge and the fact that she can tell you, like off the top of her head, you know, looking at a menu, what might be missing and how you can improve it. And there are quite a few people out there that are really good about that. And so,
as a paralegal, I'm particularly sensitive to this because in order to get your paralegal certificate, some states actually have a registered paralegal test that you have to pass. Maryland does it, but does not, but other states do. They talk about it in your ethics class that it's UPL is unauthorized practice of law, and that you can't give legal advice. And so I'm very sensitive to understanding where that line is of what's considered veterinary advice and what's not. And making it very clear. Again, you're talking about setting up a business. Like, I would suggest either working with a lawyer or some kind of legal website to have some kind of like waiver that's explaining what you're doing is not medical advice or
yeah.
veterinary advice and things, because you really want to be upfront with your clients as well as protecting yourself. And yeah, I'm very, very sensitive to what is considered medical advice, veterinary advice, legal advice.
It's a fine line too, because, I was talking to a veterinarian the other day, and one thing that they brought up was a lot of people are creating meals for dogs with allergies. But how do you know it's allergies? So did their veterinarian diagnose it as food sensitivities, food allergies? And that's just another that's why you need to get the veterinarian involved in the discussion. And sadly, there are some people that a veterinarian may not want to get involved in that discussion. But if you have a veterinarian that you can speak to and work with, just to cover yourself, because there are other illnesses out there and diseases that may offer up symptoms that are similar to an environmental allergy or a food sensitivity. So it's one of those where some people may deem that creating a meal to address an allergy, they may see that as crossing that line into practicing medicine without a license. So it's just like, that's why I will not do this, because it's just, and it also depends on what state you're in, because different state may have different criteria. It's just,
and even country, right? Because you said, when
yeah,
this is out in Canada versus the American, yeah.
And people are starting to report people, because if they get bad service, or if they see that they don't feel that people are sharing accurate information on social media, they will call their local, licensing agency and report them. And so it's just like, just protect yourself. If you're really serious about doing this, make sure that you are covered on all sides, on the business side, on the legal side, on the education side. Continue educating yourself, but make sure you're covered.
Yeah, and when you see something that's like, "Oh, only $49
I
for you to build a
know.
$10,000 a month business." Like,
That's
that
not
just
real.
feels predatory to me, yeah.
It does, because people care about their animals, and people. I mean, it's funny, because I think every community out there, it has its toxic elements. That's just human nature. But when it comes to the dog lover or even pet lover community, one thing that I think everyone can agree with is that we are really passionate about our pets. And if we meet someone else who is equally as passionate about their pets, we want to help them if they have questions. So it's one of those things where someone, especially right now with the economy as it is, you know, and a way for someone to start making money and work from home and work for themselves, that's appealing to everything. But for, basically let's round up to $50, are they going to be able to not only explain the intricacies of canine nutrition, and because it's a pet health coach, so what exactly are they covering when it comes to health? Are they actually diving into disease? And health is all encompassing, because it's behavior year training. It's all, so is it covering all that and covering the business side of building your business? Are they supporting you in all this? Or is it one of these things where you get in there and then they start nickel and diming you? Like, hey, you should get your website through our organization and we'll only charge you,
Oh,
$10
and you have
a
to
month for it.
pay to be listed in our directory.
Exactly. Like, is it all of those type of things? And you keep thinking, and we'll promote you and it will help you. And because there is a Real Housewives of, uh, um, uh, was it just Real Housewives of Utah? I don't think it was Utah because I don't think it was Salt Lake City. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Jennifer, I think her name was, went to jail for a similar type scam.
Oh, wow.
Where they were targeting especially elderly people and retired people with these business things. And it was one of those things where you would have the website and we'll help you promote you and help you build your business. And it was all very predatory and people were losing tens of thousands of dollars. Like they spent their retirement building this phantom business. There was never a business. And she went to jail. There was a whole FBI sting. It was on the show. It was very fascinating.
Wow.
So be careful out there.
I don't want to deter people who, legitimately have the education and background to share their knowledge with pet parents from wanting to start a business. But, they need to be careful as well as the consumer pet parents need to be careful about how you're, quote unquote, vetting the people that you're going to work with and spend your money with.
Yeah.
Make sure they did more than take a $50 course.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So, I burnt off my eyelashes. I know this isn't dog related, but
Well, you
I tell
told us about your grill mishap last week. I didn't realize it was your eyelashes.
Oh, yes, that's right, because last week I said it wasn't, but yeah, my eyelashes. I mean, they're still there, but they're very short, and so I'm using this conditioner on them now.
So, do you not have, like, the ignition button on yours?
So, other people have said that too. I need to go look, but Johan told me the reason why, and my girlfriend told me too. She's like, "You're letting the gas fill up too much." So basically, I will turn it on, and then I'm sitting there with my little lighter going, ch ch ch. So I don't think there's an ignition button. Is that what starts the fire?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah, I
ours
don't.
actually has, it's like a
Yeah,
push button start,
I don't.
but,
Yeah, ours
we don't
doesn't.
have to get any lighters involved.
Yes, I wish we had that.
Oh, okay.
Still have eyelashes. But no, so we didn't. So I'm doing this, and those fire poker where it has a long thing. I have that, and it takes sometimes a few pumps. And while I'm doing this, it's filling up with gas, and so by the time I put it down there, and
Okay.
it doesn't take long. And so Johan told me to turn on the propane tank, but don't turn on the burners.
Mm.
Then get my flame ready. Then turn on one and get it going, and then turn on the others, and that's what works. So
In my house, it would just be, "Tim, come start this." I'll admit.
I was trying to be an independent woman. I was trying to be an independent Black woman, and I lost my eyelashes as a result.
I draw the line at, like, fireness.
I did it. I made ribs, and I sent a picture to Johan. I was so proud of myself. He was like, "Do you still have hair?" And I'm like, "Surprisingly, yes." So yay. So I'm gonna grill a steak today because now that I know how to do it without risking my eyesight, I'm pretty excited about it. I was gonna say you saw something about
The joint health.
yes, joint health.
So, that was a very fascinating study, and, I am very grateful. There is a new page I've been following on Facebook called Proactive Pause, and they have a lot of different studies going on, and they keep posting about different findings, and they do include links to the actual studies as well.
Oh, this is Dr. Becker's new page. I only knew because the images look similar to their stuff, Rodney and
Yeah.
Karen's stuff. And so I was just like, is this it was this, like, well, because of this color and stuff. I think this is the one you're talking about. But
Yes.
it was one similar to this. And I sent it to him and I was like, is this you? And he's like, no, this is Dr. Pecker's new something she's been working on for a while. So I'm like really excited for her because it's really beautifully done
Yeah.
and very engaging. Like when these images come through my feed, I stop and read.
Yes,
It's
every
like
time.
very well done.
So it says, why do vets recommend dogs starting joint support at 1 year of age? And it says a new peer-reviewed study shows labs and golden retrievers treated with antibiotics were 3 times more likely to suffer knee ligament tears, so CCL tears. And even worse, when dogs were given steroids, they faced a 3.5 times higher risk compared to dogs who weren't given these medications. Now, I will say that Dr. Odette Suter did have one caveat to that about dogs being treated for something like Plechner's syndrome that are given a biologically appropriate amount of steroids. And I feel like there's only a very minuscule amount of dogs in the US who would fall into that category.
Mhm.
So I think we can take this as a pretty good generalized data. And it did make me think, I've had one CCL girl, that was my gal Kalua, and I definitely know that she was on antibiotics. I remember she had this weird like wound on her face at one point that wasn't healing, and I remember we had to do a couple rounds of antibiotics. I was trying to remember if there's anything else that she would have got the antibiotics for, but I definitely know she had a couple rounds, and it
Yeah.
was just very interesting to me to think about it that way, and just again, we think about the gut health, portion of this, and then some people were asking questions about whether this was also combined with spay-neuter status, like whether they looked at
Yeah.
that aspect too, which we've seen so much data on recently as well. So I thought that was a good question to ask, but just generally speaking, like, wow, that's really powerful data.
Yeah. And well, what's amazing to me is not only Dr. Becker's post, but also Dr. Suter's response or, addition to the post is how important it is that we follow multiple people, that we
Yeah.
don't just follow one page or a couple of pages.
Or take
We
like one person as like, no,
Yeah, because
gospel.
it's like someone else may come through and they're like, "Oh," because that's what she started, was like, but," and she brought in her perspective, and it's, I did a week last week, each week on my social medias, I try to have a topic, and so last week it was about variety, and I did a post about, it's so important to have a variety of voices that we're following because that's when even if it's like with regular people, other pet parents, when we are, a lot of people will join multiple raw feeding groups. And even though you're going to see a lot of the same voices speaking up in each of those groups, you're also exposed to different people who have different experiences and something that you just never really thought about. Because I had another week where I talked about omega-3 fatty acids, and someone brought up that they give their dog, like, pork brains for the omega-3 fatty acids, and I happen to know because I spoke to someone else years ago who had a dog that was allergic to all seafood. So and a lot of times when your dog is allergic to fish, so they can't have fish oil, people will recommend krill oil because dogs don't have any type of exposure to that and may be able to do well on it. And if that doesn't work, then algae oil is recommended. But this was long ago where I'm sure someone was probably making algae oil, but I don't know who it was. It was mostly fish oil and salmon oil back then. But the person was feeding pork brains. And years later, once I started diving deep into the macro and micronutrients, fats of different foods, I looked it up because I was curious about, well, is that a viable substitution? Because you never hear people talking about it.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, it can be, but it's not like an apples to apples correlation because pork brains are high in DHA, but they're sort of moderate in EPA, and you really need a balance of those two. And I have no idea how you would balance that out because I don't know anything that's just, like high in EPA. So it's better, at least for my dogs, I alternate between salmon oil and algae oil for my dogs and then just fish because I find that a lot easier. And I also don't have dogs that are allergic to fish, so it's a lot easier that way too. But I say all of this to say, were it not for me talking to different people, I would have never known about the pork brains and then followed that rabbit hole down to learning even more. So variety, people.
And I do that too. I feel like my brain just like catalogs information for, future purposes.
So, walking the dogs. I was curious. Do people walk their dogs off leash where you live? Do you have to deal with that at all?
Generally, no, not in our neighborhood. However, we live a really short distance from a school where there's different fields and stuff. And so
Mhm.
sometimes we'll walk over to the school and there will be people letting their dogs off leash on the fields there.
Yeah.
And most of those areas are not fenced in any way. So that really bugs us. So yeah, if we see somebody has an off leash dog, we just won't walk up that place, that up
Yeah.
there at all. We're like, not today.
I'm the other day, Monday, I was walking the dogs. I'm doing this whole weight loss journey where I walk so much, it's not even funny. My friend Vincent, I message him sometimes because he's real buff and stuff, and he's always like, "Don't discount walking because my legs are like," I can't remember what he called him, but I call him like tree trunks. He's so strong, and he walks his dog all the time because he doesn't have a yard, so he has to walk his dog, and so I've been taking that and walking, walking, walking.
Ooh,
So
I will say, the
yes,
one problem that we do run into is, like, if we're walking around our neighborhood and somebody's on, like, their own property and they don't have their dog leashed, and then we go to, like, walk past their house and, like, this dog comes charging at us.
yeah.
That has happened on numerous, numerous, numerous occasions.
That's what we don't have because we don't live in a traditional neighborhood. I do, but we do. I've been walking the dogs multiple times a day. In fact, when we finish here, I'll be going on a solo walk because it's too hot this afternoon for the dogs. But Monday, you can either go north or south. So you come off our property, you go one way or the other. And I chose to go north or south. And there were two people who had friendly dogs, but they actually did have friendly dogs who were walking their dogs off leash. And what was interesting is that usually, it's aggravating as hell because it's like now I have to find a place to pull my dogs off of the trail. If it's the beginning of our walk, they're super excited. So they're most likely to go crazy. But if we're more into our walk or at the end of our walk, they're okay with going, "Oh, a dog." And we just keep walking by. But what was astounding to me was I could see them at a distance and their dogs came back to them when they would call them back.
Wow.
And I'm just, like, cracking up because it's like, if I started trying to walk Apollo off leash, I mean, maybe he would come back to me. I mean, there's probably, I would say, an 85% chance that he would come back to me when I called him, as long as there's no one else walking dogs. There's not a rabbit. There's not, I mean, I'm so impressed with people who have that type of relationship and training with their dog, and their dog's not wearing a training collar. Like, they just call him over, leash him up. I mean, I'm sure the bicyclists aren't fans because they're just like, "Ah, crap." But I had a little admiration for that. Both of them were just like, actually, in one of the dogs, he started out on leash and he saw us and she wasn't gonna he stopped and pulled on her to go a different way. Like, if I go that way, I can't be off leash. So she turned around and went a different route and took him off leash and he was fine. Or he or she, I don't know. But I was just like, gosh, I mean, Zoe is my dog, and when she was alive, Sydney was my dog that I can walk off leash, and she would just walk next to me, but it's not very common.
Penny was that way in her older years.
Mhm.
She just, like, didn't care about running after stuff or
So so any other things?
Oh, you were telling me about the dog trainer post that you saw
Yes.
about the
That
fearful dogs.
aggravated me. I usually don't get aggravated by things I see on social media anymore, and I say that as in I probably do, but just usually I just once I scroll, I don't see it anymore. This one, I made a comment, and because I don't know, he or she, the person, the page, posted something about, like, saying, "Oh, it's okay," to your dog when they're afraid of something
Like,
is
comforting them.
reinforcing that fear, and I was just like I was like, "I disagree." I was gonna say, "This is not true," and backspace, 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 and I just put out, "I don't agree with this," because I remember I interviewed years ago, and I cannot pronounce his last name, but Michael, is it Shiashiko?
Oh, yes. He's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I asked him that as like, because people would put out that what I call a myth. And he said, he asked me what I was afraid of. And I'm like, I'm terrified of snakes. And he was like, so if you saw a snake and if I came up and was like, oh, it's okay, would you suddenly not be afraid of snakes? And I was like, no. He was like, no, it doesn't. He's like, it's okay to comfort your dog. It's like, and then you want to work on redirecting, because that's what I do for the fireworks. So I'm like, hey, it's okay, everything's cool. And then I, bring out toys, bring out shoes. I, play with them. I do all these type of things. Like when we were walking when people were just randomly throwing off fireworks as we're walking, the dogs would jump and Buffy would look to me and I'd be like, nope, it's okay. We're going to keep going. And yeah, if she came closer, I'd reach down and, scratch her ear and we would just keep walking. I wasn't reinforcing the fear. It wasn't like I'm like, you're damn right, you should be scared. It's the end of the world. I'm scared too. God, what the hell is that? We better race home. No.
Well, I had a lot of feelings when you brought this up. So last fall, I had Zazie Todd on my podcast. And not only is she a dog trainer, but she's a PhD in psychology. And so she's written a number of books. And I was talking to her about her newest book, which is called Bark. And it's the science of, helping fearful, anxious, and reactive dogs. And in fact, my whole episode with her was called How to Be a Safe Space for Your Dog. And she actually goes through like all of the science of the studies and things that people have done with dog behavior. And she does find that it's totally okay to comfort your dog. And she gives kind of like the parameters on how to do that successfully and stuff in the book. And we talk about it in the podcast episode too. And so, yes, I am very triggered when you told me about that, because I'm like, that's not what science says.
I mean, it goes along with the, like, when people don't let your dog lean on you because they're just trying to own you. It's like, no, they're looking for comfort. And they're like, hey, I'm in a place where I'm not sure, so I'm going to lean into you to get some comfort. I mean, I have dogs leaning into me whenever I'm around dogs. Apollo leans into me. Buffy just started doing the leaning like a week or so ago, where I don't know, she gave me her first lean into my legs. Zoe, she actually likes to just stand backwards between my legs. So I close my legs, to tightly around her and just scratch her back, and she's fine. But yeah, it's just a comfort, a check-in. Sometimes it is to let other dogs know, hey, this is my human, back off. But I haven't really had that experience. I mean, when I take the dog someplace where there are other dogs, they're usually off sniffing and playing and stuff like that. They're not guarding me, but I don't have herding, except for Zoe. I don't have a herding dog. So, ooh, I'm like all over the place. This is what happens when we don't talk to each other about what we're going to talk about. It's like I'm all over the place. Usually, Erin's really good about giving us a list of things. I sent in Buffy's Embark, and I'm so excitedly waiting for it. I mean, I know I have the wisdom panel, but I really, I feel like it's wrong. And so
She's a pit bull. She's a
I
wired
know,
pit bull.
exactly. It's just like, but I just really, it would be so cool if it comes back. And I mean, I'm sure it is probably going to come back. Not exactly the same, but very close. But
I'll be
the
very
fact,
curious to compare them.
yeah, me too. So I'm really excited about it. I'm getting the notifications about like it's in the lab and they're doing all the work. I'm a little worried because I guess when you do the thing, I
The
don't
swab.
know if you're, I don't know if you're supposed to let it dry a little bit before you put it in the water. I don't know, but I feel like there's a little step that I didn't do quite right. But I don't think I've ever done it quite right, and all the other tests came back just fine. So.
Oh, you know what we haven't talked about yet is Green Juju has new foods coming out.
Yes. Are they out now?
No, it said they'll be in the stores this fall.
Okay. I think it's just astounding. They are like on fire with
Yeah.
products. It's like amazing. I mean, they're going to be like, they must as well just start. Wouldn't it be cool if they opened a store?
Oh,
There's
wow.
there's a raw food company here, Natural Pet Pantry, that has a store. but it's a pet store and they have other stuff to it. But I mean, Green Juju, they have enough stuff that they could actually just go around and do pop-ups.
Yeah,
All
and
their stuff.
I feel like the aesthetics would be really beautiful too, because
Oh,
I
I
always like
know.
how they do their different things at the conferences and stuff like that.
Yeah. All bright and sunshiny. I'm like going up to their page to see if I can find the list of foods. But yeah, I was really impressed with that because it's like I saw that everything has sardines in it, which is kind of cool. What I'm curious about is, well, I guess everything that is pre-made is balanced. But yeah, duck sardine, turkey sardine, think there was chicken sardine. I wasn't paying attention when chicken ducky and turk. Gosh, I don't know words. But
Ducking?
chicken, duck, and turk. I can't say it. It's turkey. It's 2 syllables, Kimberly. So that's, like, really kinda cool. I'd be interested in just like, does one of them just wake up one day and go, "You know what would be cool?" And the other one's like, "Yeah, you know what else would be cool?" Because it's like they are just constantly coming out with so many really cool things. Hmm, yeah. There you go.
Have you bought anything for the Real Dog Box 10th anniversary sale
Yes, I
yet?
have. Yeah.
I'm so annoyed because I keep missing the things I want because I'm like I should set a timer on my phone, I guess, because I'm like, "Oh, it's in, like, 30 minutes, okay." And
That's
then, like, I
funny.
end up doing something else, and then I'm like, "Oh, let me log back in. Oh, nope, gone."
The carousel that I have for today, I haven't posted it yet, is tips on shopping, and one of the tips is to mark your like, to set an alarm.
Yeah, I've done that in the past, but I haven't done it this
Eh,
week, and it
I mean, I
shows.
guess by the time people listen to this, it'll be too late for the anniversary week, but it'll be great if you joined Real Dog Box and you want to do it in the future. The things
Because
that
yeah,
work.
they do the secret shop all year round, yeah.
Yeah. And they do it, like, maybe at least once a week, there's gonna be a secret shop drop. And one thing that I find is, one, I go in, I set an alarm, basically just on my phone, and I go in and I scroll. I'm a wellness member, so I get to go in
Yes, me too.
earlier than other people. And I scroll through just to see, like, really quickly, just do a quick scroll to see what's there. And that there's something there that's low in quantity and I know is very popular, I will buy that first. I'll buy it and check out because
Oh, okay.
just having it in your cart doesn't mean you'll get it. Because if someone orders it too, and they check out, they'll take it out of your cart and that person got it. So you're just sort of like kinda going you're still kinda considering it when you put it in your cart. You're not buying
Right.
it. It's not promised to you. So I do that, then I go through and look at what I really want. If it's something that I know that there's a good chance I'm gonna get it in a future Real Dog Box, I don't worry too much about it, but that usually doesn't happen. Usually what's in the secret shop is either excess and they just don't have enough to put it into the next prescription box, or it's just something that they got, but they just didn't get enough. So it goes into the secret shop. And I had a list, like, I look for rabbit feet, but I like the front feet, the smaller ones versus
Mm.
the large ones. And it's only because I have dogs of different sizes. And that way everyone gets something. I love anything rabbit. So rabbit meatballs. There's now the rabbit lungs with trachea. Because it's a cooling protein and because rabbit is crazy expensive where I live. So this is pretty much the only way my dogs get rabbit in their system. I love the quail heads, like the turkey poults and the chicken poults, and it's basically a baby bird that didn't make it. And so I love adding those to the dogs' meals. Anything with fish, so salmon. I'm not really a fan of salmon skin. I prefer the actual salmon. And the reason why I don't like the salmon skin is because sometimes with some dogs, it's not crunchy and it sticks kind of in their mouth and they're having a hard time with it. So I stop buying, unless it's a crunchy skin, I don't buy fish skins for my dogs. But, the sardines, the big, gigantic sardines, if they have green lip mussel.
Yes, oh yeah, I always get that too, yeah.
I don't like the green tripe unless it's a mill topper because those pucks are crazy hard. And,
Oh, I like those. I like the
yeah,
pucks.
my dogs, I mean, my dogs, I like, for instance, Rodrigo loved them and he did great on them, but he was a really strong chewer. But my dogs, even though they can chew them just fine, they're very dainty with their chewing. So I end up having to break them up, and they're not something that I can just break by hand. They're very hard. So I stopped buying those, which means that, but they're very, very popular. So I'm, if you want to buy them, you better get on it fast. So do you have it? Oh, so this week, what did I get? Rabbit lung with trachea, some beef trachea. Those are a hit in my house. Everyone loves the beef trachea. There was turkey poults, and I feel like there was one more thing, but I can't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was, but that's pretty much it. I didn't go crazy. I think I got lamb ears without the fur.
Mm.
So that's what I got. And the lamb ears were you got 2 for $10, not just one. So I basically got 4.
I like all the meatballs too. I like whenever they have
Yeah.
meatballs. And yeah, like you said, any of the like seafood kind of things, I'll try to pick up. The bison lung, like they love the bison lung. Anything bison really, except like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I buy the testicles, but
Yeah, I do have the testicles. I have one just to try them, but I was curious. So like, just in case. But yeah, bison lung is very popular here. In fact, I have friends that are not bison, but my friends who have pigs are going to be butchering pigs in a few weeks. And I asked them for 2 buckets full of lungs, which I have to then freeze. And then, yes, the face that, the face that Erin has right now, I have to freeze it. Because it's like trying to cut up wet marshmallows with a dull knife. It's very hard to cut up, but I cut them up and make treats with them. Lung treats are very popular. So, yeah, lungs, heart. I'm doing lungs, heart, 1 liver because liver, I don't need a whole lot of liver, and kidneys. That's what I asked for.
okay.
Dehydrate like crazy.
I'm not that girl.
Ooh, and guess what I'm doing this weekend?
Ooh, what's up?
I am processing my first whole animal.
Oh wow, what kind of animal?
I have a whole duck with head, feet, fur, or not fur, feathers,
Feathers.
everything.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
duck, and so I'm going to be processing it this weekend. We'll see if how I feel
Guess
next
what
week.
I will not be doing this weekend?
I'll also be going to see Superman because it's a dog lover movie, I think.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yes, the crypto
Yeah,
is his
crypto.
dog, and it was making people want to adopt or something.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
okay,
wonder. It's like, is it? Is it though?
that's a nice headline.
I'm always curious because I saw a few of those headlines, and personally, I am on the board of directors of a rescue, and we have a lot of dogs in foster. So it's just like, I mean, it's not unheard of, but is it where I'm curious to know where they're like, is this nationwide or is this in a certain area?
So actually, there was some really sad news yesterday that one of the rescues here in Baltimore that's been active for the last 15 years, they're shutting down and retiring. And for a long time, it was a one-woman show. And I mean, when I first met her 15 years ago, I thought she was a senior citizen then.
Uh-huh.
And so I was glad when more people got involved and were
Mhm.
helping her. But I mean, yeah, I'm happy for her to retire because she really has dedicated her life to this, but it's a loss to the animal rescue community in Baltimore to lose another rescue, especially one that was very pit bull friendly.
Yeah.
So it's tough out there, and with the veterinary costs that the rescues, I'm sure you know
Mhm.
what those look like.
A
Uh,
lot of people are surrendering dogs right now because of the economy and or because, they just a lot of people got dogs during the pandemic and it just wasn't probably a good idea for everyone. And so we get calls for dogs, surrender dogs on a daily basis. And what's sad is that a lot of these dogs were never socialized. Some of them were never spayed or neutered. They have behavioral issues, a bite history. So it makes it just even harder to rehabilitate and re-adopt them out. And it's got to be, there's a word for it. And I think you'll know it, where it's like the fatigue people
Like
will
compassion
get.
fatigue?
Yeah, compassion fatigue that people get. Because I am on the board of directors, but there's so much I don't do and I'm not exposed to. Like we got a group of dogs up from a place in California where there were only 3 dogs left in the litter because the other ones were used as target practice.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's like, uh, I just like to, Buffy was like abandoned, and her little family was abandoned, and we know what would have happened to them had someone not come across and scoop them up. And it's just for every dog that we rescue, there are hundreds more that
Yeah.
are lost, and it's heartbreaking. And this goes back to a lot of the stuff that our community talks about with spay and neuter. And I do understand the benefits of delaying a spay or neuter, but in some cases, it's just so much easier.
But there's alternative procedures that will
Yes.
leave the endocrine system
And I'm
intact
hoping to
that
see
the
that
rescue and
spread.
shelter community won't embrace. That's where I get so frustrated.
Well, isn't the person that you mentioned someone who does this, who basically goes around and works with rescues and does this, but wasn't that in a different country what they're doing this?
Oh, yes.
Because and I feel like, what's interesting is not only that, but also the fact that Daisy's so sweet. The fact that, when you think about other countries that don't have an overpopulation problem,
Oh, because
and
people are actually responsible. It does
yeah,
happen in some European countries.
yeah, where, if we can't embrace alternatives to the traditional spay and neuter, then can we start embracing being responsible? Don't let your dog just run the
No.
streets. I mean,
And I mean, in a lot of the, in the areas with the volunteer work I do, backyard breeding is like a moneymaker,
yeah.
you know? And that's what's heartbreaking a lot of times about the work that we do. We do microchipping at all of our clinics. We don't microchip every dog. We get the owner's consent, but
Mhm.
I'd say the vast majority, probably 2/3 of the dogs that come through our clinic get chipped or already are from us from previous years. And so, I mean, because most people don't register their microchips. And so if they don't, if a dog shows up in animal control, I get called. And so, I mean, this time of year, I'm getting 2 calls a week from animal control. And these are just for dogs that have come through our clinics. I can't imagine how many
Yeah.
other dogs that they're getting in. And I mean, we actually did for the first time about 2 months ago, had a call where the dog was found deceased and had been shot.
Hmm.
And, it's just that was heartbreaking, and I can pull up all of the records, and it's like, it's a dog that I saw, like, that came through my vet station that I, helped in their care, and we get emails and constantly about people who want spay neuter, but currently in Baltimore, there's not any real widespread spay neuter available for free or even at an affordable cost. There was pre-COVID, there was a couple great programs, but now I don't know if it's a veterinary shortage, I don't know what's going
Mhm.
on, but none of the shelters are really able to offer it. Certainly nothing in a timely manner. It's like, oh yeah, maybe in like 6 months, but I mean, your dog could have already had another litter by then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's the animal welfare world just has felt like a complete dumpster fire in the post-COVID years.
It's it is. It's just I'm happy to support my rescue, and I do it, I figure, on the safe side. So, like, I'm going around requesting donations for our upcoming auction. I if people who adopt from us, if they're interested in feeding raw, they're sent my way. I do a lot of the social media, not all of it, but some of the social media posts in our groups to keep the engagement up. But I can't with the real hard part. It's too much. It's just like it.
I
It
get
I
it.
it would stay with me too long. We have 2 otters that are living in our pond, and I just want to go out there. I don't want to kill them. I just want to go out there with a pot and pan and like beat it around the pond and see if that scares them away. Like, I don't want to kill you, just go away. Because my dogs want to swim in the pond in the summertime, but they don't get to because 2 otters have decided it's their territory. And
Um,
it's like, gosh darn it. So, yeah.
so I've been watching, in this whole past week, I have binged watched Department Q on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I still have to watch that.
It was really good, but I will admit there's a couple times where I'm like, this is a little too intense for me. But that's only because I've like lost some of my stomach for things as I've gotten older.
Mhm.
But oh my God, like the story was amazing. And it takes place in Scotland. And highly, highly, highly recommend, cop show. But
I'll
it's,
get that
a
started.
little alternative take on your traditional cop show. So I really appreciated that.
I started it, but I was just sort of like I was doing stuff and
It's
I
a
wasn't
little
watch
slow.
it.
I will admit the very first episode was kind of slow, and I was kind of
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I can hang. And yeah, and it's like not a show where you can like have it on while you're doing something else. Like you
Yeah,
really kind of
that
got
was
to
my
pay
problem.
attention because it's how it all kind of comes together.
There's
Very
another show with Maggie Q. I don't know the name of it, but it's number on
Yes.
Amazon Prime, and I wanted to check that one out.
Yes, I saw that. I haven't watched it yet.
I like her.
We also watched a Bill Burr comedy special. It's not new though. I think it was from like 6
Mhm.
months ago or something, but Tim was having some really stressful work stuff come on, and we've been watching, The Bear lately, and that show gives him so much anxiety, and I was like, "Oh my god, we cannot watch The Bear tonight, like, he is having such a day, I need to find some kinda comedy that," and I'm like, "Ooh, there's a Bill Burr thing."
I still haven't gotten back into I can't remember what it's called, but the family one that I was talking about last week, where they're a crime family.
Oh, yeah, Animal Kingdom?
Animal Kingdom. I still haven't got I keep looking at it like maybe I can handle it today, but and it's just nothing has happened yet. They're just planning a crime, and I'm so anxious from them planning a crime that I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, are you guys sure you wanna do this?"
Oh,
But
and my
I think
mother my mother has been completely heartbroken because she used to be able to watch Netflix stuff on my account at her house, and I guess that
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing has caught up, and so she's like, "I can't watch any more Gilmore Girl."
Well, when I was staying at my friend's place when I was house sitting for a couple weeks, because I was like, I have several streams. So I have Disney Plus, which also includes Hulu. I have Amazon Prime, and I have Netflix. Is that it? Oh, and I have HBO Max. So I have 4 streaming things. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not, and we've talked about the lovely time of setting everything up. So
Yeah.
I just did Netflix, Amazon Prime. No, I didn't do Amazon Prime. I did Netflix, YouTube, because I love YouTube in the morning, and Netflix, YouTube, and Disney Plus. So I set those up, but they, at some point in time, they were like, "Hey, you're not at home. Are you on vacation or something? Is this you?" And I was, like, so worried that it would shut off, but it gave me a moment to be able to say, "Yes, I'm on vacation, and it's still me." But I was just like, "Oh my gosh, they're really cracking." I mean, I heard that they were going to be, but man, usually, and what's funny is that there are times when I log into Facebook, and it's just sort of like, "Hey, someone's trying to log into your Facebook from Tumwater, Washington," which is probably about an hour and a half or so away from me. So I figure I'm 10 miles away. They're gonna be okay with me. They won't notice. Yeah, they notice on all of the platforms. No, except for YouTube. They all noticed that I was not, at home.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
just like, Big Brother is watching, and they
I
want
was
us to
like, I thought
be at
I
home.
paid to, like, be able to watch it on multiple screens, but whatever, okay.
Multiple screens in your house.
Well, I only have one screen in my house. One big screen anyway, one
It cracks me up that you have to pay for that. Uh, doesn't even watch TV. It's just me. I love my TV. I love my movies.
Tim has been watching something, what is it called? It has a weird name. It's, like, taking place in Northern Ireland. Say Nothing. That's what
Okay.
it's called. Say Nothing.
I think I have heard of that.
And I think the accents were messing with him a little bit, but he hung with it, and now he said it's really good. Ooh, have you been affected by the celebrity deaths of this week?
Theo.
I was so sad about him because he was so young and so talented, and then
my exact age. Not exact, he's older than me, but not much. He's born in 70 and I was born in 71.
Oh, wow.
So
I mean, it's like drowning of all, like, you're like, of all the, like, what a loss.
not that, and then Ozzy, I don't know why Ozzy Oz I don't even know how he was still alive, to be perfectly
That was
honest.
one thing I said, but that one made me sad.
I was like, I still never expected. I mean, it was still a shock. Like,
So
and
he
when
just did a big concert on July 5th. It was like the last ever Black Sabbath reunion show. And Ozzy's had Parkinson's for many years and he's not able to stand. So if you see clips from that concert, they have this big, like, Gothic throne that he's sitting in the whole concert because he literally can't stand. But his voice sounded very strong and you could actually understand him when he talked,
Oh,
which, like,
wow.
sometimes you couldn't.
Yeah.
And it did not seem like, yeah, this guy's gonna be dead in 2 weeks, you know what I mean? It was shocking to me, and
Yeah.
that was total, like, Black Sabbath, Ozzy, like, that was my teenage years. I used to go to all the Ozfest concerts. Tim and I even went in some of our early dating years, like, that one got me, man.
Ozzy Osbourne, I didn't listen to their music growing up, but we all knew who they were, and I, of course, watched the Osbournes. Love the
Well,
Osbournes.
I was so weirded out when the Osbournes came out, but I'm glad it introduced him to, like, a wider audience of people,
Yeah.
and, because he was such a controversial guy for such a long time, but I'm, like, glad to
He was,
see all
like,
the
so
mainstream
cool.
love.
Yeah, he was so fun, and I love them, but now it's like everything comes in threes, so I'm just like, "Well, who's
Who's the
next?
next one? I know.
Who's
And then
next?"
Tim was like, "Well, poor Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner, like, he'll probably be overshadowed by the Ozzy thing
Yeah.
now,"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
both of those were like, "Us Gen X kids are hurting this week."
I know, it's just like, "Oh, no, what? No, this is not acceptable." But, yeah, it was just like, oh, oh, oh. I mean, it sucks when the people you grew up with start dying.
Yeah. And like you said, in some ways, it's kind of a miracle Ozzy lasted
I
as long as he
know.
did, but it's still,
I mean,
it
he
still
was
sucks.
pickled
Yeah.
because he was same thing with, like, what is this, the guy from the
Keith
Beatles.
Richards or
Yes.
the
Keith
Rolling Stones, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rolling Stones, the Beatles. Yeah, Keith Richards. I mean, it's like, how in the world? How? So, yeah, all right. Well,
All right, hugs to you other Gen Xers out there.
take care of yourselves.
All right, everybody, we'll see you next week.
Bye.